Hello and welcome to the Michigan and Trumbull podcast. I'm Alex Freeman, joined as always by Luke Jaconis. Luke, we're coming to the people live here on Tuesday, May 13th, while the Tigers are trying to come back in this game against the Red Sox. So, folks, you may hear us live react. We've got the little scroll down there, so if you're watching later, you can kind of understand where we're at in the game as we're watching it. But Luke, to kind of jump right into it, I'm gonna go with what I've titled the episode here, which is: Are these Tigers for real?
Yeah, I think so. You're asking me this question at a time where they're losing right now in a game in which I think they should be winning. So they may as well be the 2019 Detroit Tigers that we're talking about right now. But no, even if they lose this game aside, which they should really find a way to win to make me happy, they're good. This is a solid baseball team. Jace Young, that's foul. Just a heads up for all the people who are listening and or watching. I've changed my angle for tonight's show. So as you can clearly see, there are no playbills behind me. I have the laptop here and then the big screen right beyond me. So if I'm not making eye contact with Alex, it's not because I think he's a butthead. It's because I want to see if the Tigers win. That's all.
Just as folks may track pretty quickly as well, my TV is up over here. So
right.
if you constantly see me turning away from everything that's happening, I'm not actually live at Comerica Park. Shockingly, that's not a live shot behind me.
Mm-hmm.
But
no,
that's
to answer your question, are these Tigers real? Yes, they are real. It's exciting, and I was thinking about this as I was begrudgingly cleaning up the dishes after dinner. Not that I wasn't acting begrudgingly because I had to clean up dishes. That's how it works in our house. So my fiance does the cooking, I do the cleaning. It's a very fair trade-off. I was thinking about the Tigers as they had just given up the lead in this game. I almost feel a little bit like this team needs to kind of get punched in the mouth a little bit, just because they've had so much good fortune. They've played such great baseball. And the great thing about the game of baseball is it's 162 games. So you're going to take a couple sucker punches to the jaw from time to time. And I do think, even though they just walloped on the Red Sox last night, they didn't play very well this weekend when the Rangers came to town. They had a really good game one with Skubal on the mound. And then from there, they kind of got embarrassed a little bit by the Rangers. And now here we are, maybe dropping a game to the Red Sox. Looks like a little controversy here. Jace Young got hit by the pitch. Going around. Let's see here. Doing our best Jason Benetti, Andy Dirks impression. Oh, I don't think that hit him. That hit him? What say you?
The other angle, it looked like it hit him.
Not at all.
Coming straight in.
He's going back.
Yeah, I think he's probably going back.
Going back. Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you, Luke, that I think that I'd be more concerned if they didn't have the bounce back game yesterday against the Red Sox. Agreed. Coming out of how they played in the Rangers series of like, maybe the wheels are starting to fall off the bus. But thinking through as well, like it's been very rare that they've lost 2 games in a row. And I don't think since the Dodgers series, they've lost 3 in a row.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's the only time this year that they've been swept was the opening series against the Dodgers. So I think you are correct.
Yeah, and I don't think there's been a scenario where they've like lost the last game of a series and then lost the first 2. I don't think that's happened either.
I don't think that they're usually pretty good at winning the first game of the series. It's kind of what has set them up for so much success. Javier
Baez.
There we go, man.
Let's just live eat a little crow about Javier Baez, shall we?
Oh my God, Javi Baez, 3-run go-ahead shot in the 6th. I think we've been doing this show for 6 seasons, Alex. This is our 6th season. I can't believe that we're still doing this. Who knows? But
we gotta get a life, Luke.
We're gonna get a life. I thought once I got engaged, I'd have no more time for this stuff. But here we are. Javi Baez just gave the Tigers lead in the 6th inning. Fantastic stuff. I don't think we'd ever do many live streams. So let alone forget how many live streams we've done.
That's been kind of like new for us this season.
And I like it.
The
I can count on like the amount of, like one hand how many times we've done it. And let alone then seeing some magic like that happen. Javier Baez, dude, there might not be much of a structured format to the show tonight. We might just kind of follow along with the game here, but let's have an impromptu conversation on good old Javi. First of all, the fact that I'm calling him good old Javi.
Yeah.
This guy is. Who would have thought that going into the season, everyone was like, "This is the Torkelson year. Let's see if Torkelson steps up. Let's see what happens." No one was thinking Javi Baez. Like, he was so far out of like the big picture in Detroit. We didn't think he was going to make the team out of camp potentially. We thought they were going to finally eat that contract. But alas, no. Javi Baez is a man about town right now. Good for him.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that he's been incredible. So just so everybody knows what we're talking about right now. Javier Baez, new favorite Tiger. It's been really interesting because I feel like we've talked about this as it relates to Javi the past few years is that Javi for some reason does not seem wired to be the guy on the team.
Yeah.
And that when he's able to kind of relax into a role and then like just be like this magic moment, he has a ton of success. And for some reason I think that like him moving to being an outfielder a lot this season has been useful because I think it's a lot easier to. This is every outfielder. Just calm down real quick because I'm about to say something a little controversial to you. But it's a lot easier to feel involved in a big way in the outfield than it is, I think, as the shortstop. Where like to be involved at as the shortstop, you have to be making more, even like routine plays at shortstop are athletically difficult because you have to have all the timing has to work. You have to get it over to first base. You have to do all of those things as opposed to I would much rather have to take a routine fly ball versus a routine ground ball and in one-to-one as a scenario. And so I think that there's an ability for him to relax more that I think we're seeing bear fruit. Also, like, this team is built that if Javi was hitting 200 again this year, we'd be okay. And so now we're in a spot where Javi hitting above 300 is like, oh, we're actually getting the guy we paid for, which is just gravy at this point.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens because if you haven't been following a lot along for those watching and listening with the latest transaction and injury news and updates, a lot of these guys are starting to get healthy again. Mm-hmm. You got Vierling playing in games in AAA. Jake Rogers is playing in games in AAA. Wenceel Perez are looking like he might start doing some games in West Michigan in the next week or so. Parker, I haven't heard about any game time action for him, but from what I've been reading, he's definitely gearing up towards that. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see when all these guys get healthy. And I'm assuming probably within the next 2 weeks, I'd say, we'll probably be having to start making some tough decisions with some guys coming up and going, staying down, getting demoted, etc. My brother asked me the other day, is like, what do you do when Parker Meadows comes back and is fully healthy? Because Matt Vierling is kind of like a Swiss Army knife. He can just do a bunch of different things. So when Vierling comes back, I think the obvious thing is he's going to third, and I think Jace Young is going back to Toledo. When Wenceel Perez comes back, you could probably make an argument that maybe Jahen gets sent down and Wenceel, is staying up. Or I think Wenceel, out of the three outfielders who are coming back, might be on the outside looking in, and he actually stays in AAA because then they're going to want to keep room for Parker when he's ready. And then when Parker comes back, this is the question that my brother asked me yesterday or so. He said, what do you do in center field? Because Parker Meadows is this team's center fielder, but you cannot deny what you kind of started this whole conversation off with, Alex. Javi Baez has looked like Javi Baez of 5-10 years ago since he's moved to center field. He's got that swagger back. He's playing with confidence. You can just tell he's having fun. So I don't know what the Tigers are going to do there. Do you just stick with the hot hand and keep playing Javi, who's just kind of been this born-again center fielder, or do you go with the sure-handed, always reliable, 6'9" guys like on stilts, Parker Meadows, who takes 2 strides and he's got the ball in his glove? So I'll be very curious to see how they handle that situation.
Yeah, because because so Carey's going to be more or less your regular DH. So you don't that spot's not really open because I think of the three of the guys that you just mentioned, Carey is the last of the three that we want in the outfield at the moment. Yeah. And not a knock on Carey. I just think those other two guys are better outfielders. Yeah. 100%. And so I think that the nice thing is that there is a soft landing spot for Parker, that he doesn't have to come up and be the everyday center fielder right away. They can kind of ease him in. AJ loves playing the matchups, so he can kind of play that game. And we know that we've got Javi Baez as our center fielder.
Would have done.
And so like that's a great position. And they were talking about Jahan on the broadcast last night, as he came in to pinch hit in that wild inning where the Tigers sent 13 guys to the plate. And Spencer Torkelson made 2 of the outs in the inning. Like one of the things that they are doing and need to be doing is, particularly a guy like Jahan, is like getting him as many at bats as they can to like really make that evaluation in a fair way. And obviously talking about like the matchups this week are just like not great for Jahan, so the opportunities are going to be a little bit fewer and far between, and so that's why AJ took one yesterday. And I think that that's fair, and I think that it's definitely going to come down to Jahan and Wenzel kind of battling out for what that final position is going to be. And I think that at the moment you maybe stick with the guy you have here. And until you have, and I think maybe then he's just on a shorter leash than he might have been currently, in terms of like getting down for more developmental work.
Yeah, I'll be curious what happens, because even assuming Jace Young's going to get swapped for Vierling, Nito is going to get swapped for Rogers, and then whoever comes back, Wenzel or Parker, you're assuming that's probably Jahan, because even if they don't bring Wenzel up right away, but they do bring Parker up and elevate him right away, you still got to
lose a roster spot. Yeah,
I think unfortunately Jahan is on the outside looking in. At this point, I don't see them wanting to go one less guy in the bullpen. The bullpen's been pretty solid across the board, but I guess you never know, that is a potential there. You also have rumblings of Alex Cobb coming back soon. Sawyer Gipson-Long is starting to pitch, in some single A games as well. So yeah, we'll see. It's a good problem to have right now. It is, I'll kind of go back to the battle for positions and opportunities and whatnot. I think another guy who's in a similar boat to Justin Henry-Malloy is Jace Young. Because I was watching Jace Young play today, and I was, taking these at bats, and I think he's improved overall at third base defensively, which is great. Offensively, though, it's just been nothing. He's a guaranteed out, borderline. And I was like, man, this guy's like supposed to be this big hitting prospect. And right on cue, the ball goes to Jace Young, and he makes a cannon of a throw to get the second out in the top of the 7th. He's supposed to be this big offensive machine, it seemed like, or fairly big offensive prospect when he was in the minors, and just hasn't been that great since getting called up. But then I looked at his numbers, like how many at bats has this guy had this season? He's had like 41 at bats.
Yeah,
it's really hard to make like a
super small sample size.
It's incredibly minute. So I tweeted it out. I think the only thing that you can do with Jace Young is get him some more reps to see what we actually got with him. But the problem is, I just don't see that happening anytime soon.
Yeah,
and it's a good position for the Tigers to be in, that they're not having to essentially do whatever science experiment to see if it's going to work while they're also trying to compete for division titles and things like that. They're in a good position for the most part. Knock on wood, health wise, they're getting some guys back finally. But I don't know what you're going to do with Jace Young, and Jay Head's in the same boat as well. Unfortunately, I think just opportunity, they're going to come at a premium for these guys, and they got to make the most of them. And Jay Head, I think, has ish. Young has not. Jace has not. Offensively, but I don't know. It's just. This game is cruel, man. This game is cruel, and this isn't the 2019 Tigers, so you got to earn your keep.
So, Luke, let me put this to you, and I acknowledge that it is still too early to be posing this question, right? But obviously, what we're describing is that the Tigers currently have a wealth of riches, which means at the trade deadline there are very good pieces available to move to pick somebody up. Where do you think the biggest need at the deadline is going to be? Like, what is missing from this team to be? I mean, and this is tough to say, right? Because depending on which analytic breakdown you look at, the Tigers are maybe the most favorite team to win the World Series. Based on various computer analysis, certainly not the betting lines in Vegas right now, though they're up there. They're number 3 in the power rankings. And so like all of these things kind of line up that like, okay, great, we're sitting on a contender. What's the piece that when it's the World Series against the Los Angeles Dodgers that we're like, we can do this?
It's funny you bring that up because, again, while I was begrudgingly doing dishes tonight, thinking about how I was frustrated with this Tigers game before Javi hit the home run, I was thinking to myself, you know where the Tigers need to improve upon? And people might think I'm crazy for saying this. Not offense, not defense. I don't think it's the bullpen. I think it's starting pitching. I think the Tigers could really benefit from going out and getting another bona fide ace to complement Tarik Skubal. You know, there's this gentleman by the name of Paul Skeens who plays for a pretty awful Pittsburgh Pirates team, who, if you've been following the headlines the last couple of days, is should the Pirates trade Paul Skeens? And if the Pirates are willing to trade the Paul Skeens to the Tigers, hey, I'm all for it. Now, you're probably giving up half the farm to get Paul Skeens, so I don't know if that's worth it. But obviously, that's probably not happening. But I really do think another solid starting pitcher to complement Skubal would be great, because right now, here's the current state of the Tigers rotation. And if 2019, Luke, could hear these complaints that I'm saying about the 2025 Tigers, I'm pretty sure I would bitch slap myself. But these are just the facts. You've got Tarik Skubal, who has been dominant as all hell. You've got Jack Flaherty, who has not been very good this season. Hasn't been awful. Hasn't totally regressed to his Baltimore Orioles version of Jack Flaherty, but overall not great. Reese Olson has been good. I don't think he's been quite as dominant as he was last season, which is ironic because he was more dominant last season, I feel like, getting less run support. And this year, he's been less dominant, but getting more run support. So kind of a reversal of fates there. And then you have Jackson Jobe, who I've been really impressed with for the most part, but got to keep in mind he's a rookie who's made like 7 major league starts. So, he's going to struggle at some point in time, folks. It's just going to happen. And then you've got Casey Mize, who's been awesome, but is currently injured. And knock on wood, and I hope Casey gets better, very soon. But, he's had his fair share of injuries. So anytime I see Casey Mize go down, I kind of take it, even if they're saying, oh, we're not thinking he's going to be on the shelf that long, I do kind of take it with a grain of salt because you just never know with him. But like I mentioned a moment ago, you have Sawyer Gipson-Long, who's looking like he's getting closer and closer to returning. Ty Madden, hopefully getting closer and closer to returning. We haven't seen what Alex Cobb can do yet. And don't keep in mind, that was the Tigers' first big offseason signing of 2024 was Alex Cobb. So I personally would like them to see them go out and add another arm. I think that is where I would like to see them grow. I mean, they're pretty solid there right now for the most part, especially if Flaherty gets it going again. I think, this rotation is just fine. And overall, they're clearly fine right now. They've had a couple of bumps and bruises in some recent games. Flaherty is the one for me that I'm most concerned about, because I think overall, across the board, he hasn't looked very good this season. But, if the trade deadline was tomorrow and say, Luke, you got to add a piece to this team to make them be an even bigger contender heading into the postseason, what are you trying to bring in? I'm saying let's bring in some starting pitching help.
Yeah, I think you're exactly spot on, Luke. That is the spot that is probably the biggest question mark in a series matchup against the Dodgers, against the Yankees in an ALCS kind of scenario. That you're like, okay, can we go 5 or 6 games against these lineups and come away with 4 wins that we know for sure. And I think that both the Jack Flaherty points are well taken, and also thinking about Jackson Jobe, and like he'll have a season of experience, but he will still be very young. And you think about Dodger Stadium in Game 2 of a World Series,
Yeah.
maybe not a spot to be learning on the job. And so having somebody, even if you have just like, even if you decide to start Jackson Jobe in that scenario, and I would assume if he's pitching well, but like to have somebody available who is a starter who could come in the second inning of that kind of game and then go 6.
Yeah.
You don't have to destroy your bullpen in the process. That's a good spot to be in, because we all saw it. We all saw that the clock does run out on pitching chaos at some point. And so I think we don't want to necessarily, we want to just keep that in the back pocket when necessary and not make it the way we win playoff games.
The Tigers right now have an abundance, as long as everybody stays healthy, knock on wood, of options, which is great. It feels that feels like something we haven't had, especially the second half of last season. It was like, I think the guy who's schlepping out Miller Lights in right field, I think he might come in and pitch an inning, because that's how banged up this team was. So it's definitely a good spot to be in. It's definitely a good spot to be in. It just, there's a lot of questions now, and assuming they keep playing well like they played in May, and they don't have a June swoon or completely tailspin in July around the All-Star break, it's going to be very interesting again to see how Scott Harris handles the trade deadline. So for those of you who are ready for that saga to be put to bed, if this team's competing, and I still think this is a team that has some holes that they can fill, Scott's still got some work to do. This isn't just cruise control into October. So I've done quite a 180 on Scott Harris. I've eaten my Scott Harris humble pie, but I definitely will be curious to see how he kind of handles his first deadline, with the Tigers being a contender going into the deadline, as opposed to being in fire sale mode.
Yeah, because this is going to be the first deadline where that's true in well over a decade in Detroit. Well over is maybe an extreme way to say it, but about a decade. And so it will be interesting to see how you go in, because there is certainly, you can see the scenario where Scott Harris is coming to meet the media after the trade deadline, and he's saying we didn't get any of the offers that we wanted. We didn't want to leverage the future to add a piece now on a short-term rental, and so we didn't make any moves. And I think that you'd have a lot of disappointed Tigers fans in that scenario. But at the same time, I do also don't want him to go crazy getting rid of some of these prospects, because we've seen what injuries can happen. We've seen what we've seen many guys who looked like the arm of the future in the bullpen, the closer of the future in the bullpen, come back out the next year and just be awful. So things can change in a hurry in this game, and even though the season is long and it feels like maybe it moves a little slow at times, that the opposite can be very true.
Well, it's funny you bring up the injuries to bullpen. I saw the news today. Jason Foley done for the season. So obviously Foley didn't make the team out of camp with the Tigers. Didn't pitch much in AAA, but when he did was pretty solid. But he hadn't been pitching since mid-April, and they shut him down for the year, shoulder surgery. So he is out. He is out. So it's kind of crazy. I saw a tweet today that was really kind of took me back. This time last year, the Tigers' back end of the bullpen was Tyler Holton, who's still here kicking ass, Jason Foley, and Alex Lang. Those were the big three of the Tigers' bullpen. Wow. And in a calendar year, 2 out of the big 3, one's done for the year, who didn't even make the team out of camp. And, other one was recovering from injuries himself from last year, being Alex Lang. So, yeah, it's been kind of crazy. Now, it doesn't really feel like the Tigers really – I guess they still kind of have a big 3. Right? It'd be Tyler Holton, Tommy Kahnle, and Will Vest. I guess kind of be those 3. And then I've really been impressed, man, with Brennan Hanafy, who's made an appearance here tonight, and then also Brant Herter. I mean, those 5 guys combined. Brebbia, I know, is back from injury. Chase Lee's been up and down. Obviously, Kenta Maeda is long gone, which is fantastic. Did we talk about that on the last show? I think we did. That Kenta was gone? I think we did.
I actually don't. I think we did, but do I have this right, Luke? I had just gotten the game turned on when the Red Sox had the bases loaded and there was a big strikeout. Was that Herter on the mound for that
Brant Herter,
strikeout?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I think he loaded him up and then got out of it, wiggled right out of it. So yeah, it's been good to see. I want to talk about another guy who we might see here in a couple more at bats. And I was thinking about this watching the game today, and I think he's become a fan favorite in Detroit this season, especially for myself, and he's really kind of revitalized his career. Gleyber Torres. The man grows a beard, and he has got the swagger back. And I think I don't, you know, the more, and we've said this before on the show, but the more and more I think about Gleyber Torres, the more I think I kind of buy into the whole Gleyber kind of got Javi out of his funk theory. Because, I mean, the facts and the stats don't lie. I mean, and Gleyber Torres is having a hell of a year. Javi's obviously, we've kind of already gushed over him at the top of the show. But you want to go back to kind of tough decisions the Tigers are going to have to make. And he's here on a 1-year deal. I would assume, you know, he would have been great collateral that if the Tigers were scuffling in the first half of the season, but he was doing, you know, pretty solid, he'd be an ideal trade candidate at the deadline. But Tigers are playing well, and he is a big part of it. So the question I'm now posing to you is, what is the, and this is a, you know, many months down the road equation, who even knows how this season wraps up for the Tigers, but what is the long-term future for a Gleyber Torres? Because he's clearly a fan favorite in Detroit. He's got the success going on. He's got the city behind him. He even said coming into this season, he kind of wanted to, you know, reinvent himself, kind of prove his worth here. What we got? That's balls foul. You know, kind of reprove his worth, reestablish himself. You know, he's happy the Tigers took a chance on him. It's been like a really good, you know, relationship thus far. So do the Tigers look to extend him? Is this kind of a one and done? Are they going to let him walk? I mean, you got Colt Keith at second, who's kind of starting to come around a little bit more at the bat, it seems, which is a really positive sign for Colt. But then you've also got Hao-Yu Lee kind of lurking around in the minors as well. You know, there's some legitimate questions of what do you do with Gleyber Torres? Because this guy really has come out of nowhere and kind of, like Javi, forced himself like, no, I'm here to stay. You guys figure it out, but I'm here to stay.
Yeah, I think that what feels like the most likely scenario to me is that you see a 2-year extension for Gleyber. Maybe something that is a team option on the second year. Or you're going to see Gleyber test free agency and perhaps come back on another 1-year deal. Though I think that the way he's playing, he will find suitors in free agency. But I do think by all accounts, he likes being here. And so that is going to be very advantageous to the Tigers in that scenario because of what you just mentioned. You got Colt Keith coming around. You got Hao-Yu Lee lurking as well. And I think that the best case scenario is that you extend Gleyber for 2 more years. And then as those guys are both firmly ready, if Gleyber is still producing like he is, now we can maybe move Gleyber as needed. Or conversely, like if one of those guys is tracking well, but is not maybe the second baseman of the future, you can move that piece as well. So I think that feels like the most likely outcome to me. That is, if I'm playing armchair GM, that's probably what I'm trying to accomplish in this scenario. But so far, nobody's handed me a GM job in Major League Baseball. So
not yet. The Rockies might be calling you soon. They are. I'm
just saying. JJ Redick went from podcaster to head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. So all I'm trying to do is become a GM. That's way easier than being a head coach.
Yeah, I would imagine so. And, you know, before he was a podcaster, JJ Redick really wasn't doing anything with his life. So
what else? Also had 2 degrees in theater. So
yeah.
He's just acting like a.
Right on. I'm going to ask you another hard-hitting question. I'm full of all the hard-hitting questions and hypotheticals on this episode. You may have seen some very, very, very big news today out of Major League Baseball in regards to deceased ineligible players getting potential votes into the Hall of Fame. Obviously, the 2 big names that comes everyone first is obviously Pete Rose, who's passed, and Shoeless Joe Jackson. Thoughts? What's going on? Do you think That's good. That is good comedy, and that's why we've moved this show pushed so much towards the video presence, because you can get little bits like that. Well done, sir. Well done. Let someone call Zac Efron. That was a great joke, sir. That was a great joke.
No,
what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the correct move. I was texting with some friends about this earlier today. That it was a lifetime ban and he's dead. So let's lift the ban. Let's is the Baseball Hall of Fame an accurate representation of the history of baseball if it does not include Pete Rose in it? No.
I 100% agree with you. I think even before the man was passed, you are the all-time hit leader in your profession, in your sport. No one is ever going to touch his record ever. And I think it's what a catch by Riley Green. What a catch by Riley Green. Every time he dives, I'm not going to lie, I hold my breath for about a half a second, but what a grab. What a grab, man.
But in Riley's defense, he has done a ton of work to not get hurt on those plays anymore. So
yeah, good for him, man. He's really come around. He's the man. He is the man. Anyways, back to Pete Rose. I think it's a no-brainer. Vote him in. I mean,
yeah, and similarly with Shoeless Joe, like I think that like the history and also like it's a museum. Put the information around around them. That
I will admit, I am more on the Pete Rose get in than Shoeless Joe train. But I'm also just going to be completely candid here when I say I know very little about Shoeless Joe compared to Pete Rose. So that's kind of where I'm like, all right, well,
yeah, I will say that like they
never watched 8 Men Out. You'll have to forgive me.
They're from different eras, and so I don't have the numbers in front of me, but my impression of the two men's stories is that if we remove the scandal that got them banned from baseball, we would still definitely be talking about Pete Rose. I don't know that we would still be talking about Shoeless Joe. I could be wrong. I don't know the numbers. But that's the only thing I know about Shoeless Joe Jackson. So
Shoeless Joe, man. Yeah. It's good. I mean, I do think it's good. I mean, you said it yourself. You said he received a lifetime ban, and this is going to sound very morbid, but Pete Rose's lifetime is ended. He's passed. So I think he's paid up to the house. Now I think I'm with this is a very rare Rob Manfred win. So kudos to Rob. I know the baseball Puritans are going to shit their pants and cry about it because that's all they got nothing better to do. But people make mistakes. You live, you learn. There's punishments. There's consequences. You see out those punishments. You move on. That's life.
And ultimately, like, right, you robbed Pete. You didn't rob Pete. Pete gave up the right to be honored as a Hall of Famer by doing what he did. And so now he's dead. He's not here to enjoy being a Hall of Famer. And so now we can correct the error of the Hall.
Yeah.
That Pete Rose is not in it. And so I think that and similar, like, I think that there's a ton of guys from the steroid era too, that we're going to kind of say the same thing about that. Like the purists are incorrect that a lot of those guys shouldn't be in the Hall because they were winning. And it's slightly different than Pete because like everybody was doing steroids. Not everybody was betting on baseball.
That's true.
I'm sure they were betting on a lot of other things, but not baseball.
Or they were betting on baseball. They weren't getting caught like Pete Rose was. So I mean,
correct. Yeah, and so I mean, ultimately, that's a bet he lost. He needed a translator. That's what he needed.
You gotta. It's true. You gotta know when to hold them and know when to fold them. That's a song by former Tigers pitcher Kenny Rogers, for those of you who are curious. The other thing, too, like I think about, like, because I'm a family man, big family guy. I just watched Nona's on Netflix, and that movie's all about family. It's wonderful. I think about Pete Rose's family. I mean, that's, obviously be pretty emotional. He doesn't get in when he's here, and then he passes, and now That's also one thing too. If you're the family shoes, would you not be kind of pissed off? I'm like, oh, now you wait and do
now
it.
you do it. Now you do it.
You couldn't do this last year, but oh no, okay, I see how it is. So yeah, I mean, there's probably a mixture of emotions, but yeah, no, I think it's great. Honestly,
well, I mean, you remember the scene from Pete Rose's funeral where Rob Manfred walked up to the casket and he leaned down and he said, "Even now, you're not getting in, you son of a."
Yeah, I do. That was in the director's cut, if I remember correctly.
The director's cut of Pete Rose's funeral.
Yeah. So no, I think it's great. I think baseball and sports in general need to stop being so rigid. We're not a museum. Things change. People make mistakes. Move on with it. Obviously, there's always an exception to every rule. If someone's doing truly horrible, egregious, violent, terrible, unlawful, whatever weird hypothetical things, great. Yeah, never again. But like, come on, the guy's betting on games. He got caught. Had a punishment. He fulfilled the punishment. Move on. Get the man in the Hall of Fame. Oh, you gotta be shitting me.
Hey, we were just talking about Tommy Kahnle. It's that whole we said a nice thing about somebody.
Mm-hmm. Dude, this game should have been over. This game should be done.
Hey, do we know? And it's entirely because I've really just watched the Tigers this year. I've not watched a ton of other baseball. It feels like there's a lot more home runs this year than there have been in the past few years.
Well, you're definitely probably thinking that because, like you said, you've only been watching the Tigers, and they are hitting way more home runs than in recent years. So,
because I also feel like they're like I also feel like generally the Tigers games have been has been power v power. And the Tigers have just had more power than a lot of guys.
Yeah.
And so I don't and certainly recency bias here with this Red Sox series and the Rangers coming to town. Like the Rangers hit a lot of home runs against the Tigers. I feel like the Tigers pitching is attacking the zone a lot more. And that leads to giving up more home runs. And so I need to look at those numbers because I'm very curious because it has felt like a lot of power on power.
Yeah, but then isn't baseball funny though? Because when they were in Colorado, which is known for being a great hitters-friendly ballpark, I think they only hit one home run that series. Yet they scored 31 runs or something like that in 3 games, or 21 runs in 3 games. They only hit one home run throughout the course of all that, which is hilarious. But yeah, no, I would imagine numbers are up. I mean, you got Aaron Judge right now who's hitting like 400. So I think overall, maybe it's the torpedo bat craze. I'm not sure. I feel like that died down pretty quickly too. Torpedo bats. Everyone was really worried about it for like 72 hours, and I feel like I haven't heard about it since. So
yeah, and it's funny because like it's not like the bat was new this season. Like people had used torpedo bats in the past,
right?
It just that singular game of the Yankees putting up 24, 21, 24, something like that.
Yep.
That was just absolutely unhinged.
This is a frustrating game here. I'm not going to lie. I'm frustrated. This is a game that feels like the Tigers could have put away multiple times, and some really just not great pitching tonight. That has been my biggest takeaway. I'm not just saying it because they just gave up the lead. But outside of, I guess it's, 50-50 because Skubal pitched great in game 1 against Texas. Jackson Jobe was pretty darn solid last night against Boston. But the 2 games they lost to Texas weren't great. And just tonight, pitching has not been there. That's the game, though. You're going to throw strikes. People are going to swing at them. So that is the game. It's just frustrating because they've been so dominant, especially with Kahnle. I feel like he's had a little bit of a rough go in his last few appearances.
Yeah, it hasn't been as
dominant.
Not that I'm nervous. I'm not at that point with him. Certainly not.
No.
Currently, but like the sensation that, oh boy, we're gonna get a little. It's gonna get a little uncomfy at the moment. But at least Kenta Maeda's not around to come into this game.
Yeah.
So
that is true. Well, I think also, I have to pace myself. What are the Tigers? They're 27-15. Is that the record, or
Yeah,
20,
27 and 15.
27-15? Yes, I mean,
Best record in the American League.
they got the best record in the American League. Life could be a hell of a lot worse right now. You could be an O's fan, you could be a White Sox fan, you could be a Rockies fan, you could be a Pirates fan. So it's although it is kind of funny, the Tigers were bad for so many years, and pretty much every team minus Cleveland and Minnesota were also pretty bad for all those years.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second the Tigers get good, everyone decides to start playing better. You can even make an argument that even the White Sox are better than last year. So it's like, Come on, everybody. Can't we just have our moment in the sun for one damn season? Just one. Give me one season where we're just running away with the division. It could still happen.
The thing. That's the thing too. Really, I mean, really, the case with it's the Royals more than anybody else that they're also a very young roster, and so I think it's going to be a fun next few years in the Central. But that also means it's going to be a stressful next few years in the Central. Because we can't just come in and dominate it.
Oh my God! This team was it Zach out there?
Yeah, I think it's Zach. It was Zach.
Yeah. Looked like Kerry for a second. My eyes are terrible. Oh boy, this is just bad, man. This is not good. And you got Rafi Devers. He doesn't want to play anywhere but third. He doesn't want to play anywhere but
best
DH.
First baseman in Boston. That whole situation was messy.
Yeah, it sure was. Messier than the Tigers' pitching performance tonight. That's for sure.
Ooh, got him.
Yeah, this is a bit frustrating here.
Yeah.
I know we shouldn't be this grumpy when the team is literally the best team in the American League, but forgive me for wanting to be a perfectionist.
Baseball's such an interesting game that way because for me, because there's so many games, I find it much easier immediately post game to be like, well, tomorrow we'll get them tomorrow. But in the midst of it, it just certainly doesn't feel that way.
Yeah, usually it's like it's been better to do it this year because 9 times out of 10 they've bounced back the next day. But it's usually the night of where I'm like, God, what am I going to do with my life? And then I wake up the next morning, I'm like, well, all right, I guess I'll just go to work and watch them in a couple hours.
Why do I spend all this time caring about this team?
Yeah. But come on, Tommy. Good. 2-2. See that change up now.
Just got a text as well. My father-in-law is watching not us, but the game.
Oh, good. Good. That's what I was hoping to hear.
The Cardinals were rained out, so.
Cardinals are playing great baseball. Holy cow. Talk about a team that's come out of nowhere. Yeah. And my dad still is not convinced, which is kind of funny. So, I mean, I get it because
I would also I would fairly not be convinced as well.
Well, I asked him the other day, he's like, are you excited? He's like, well, they got to play the Nationals. And I was like, Dad, the Nationals aren't very good. I was like, what are you talking about? Let's see. Are you ahead of me?
I think
you're ahead of me. All right.
I'm closer to Detroit, so the feed gets to me.
That's why. You could hear the roar of the crowd a little bit quicker in your apartment in New York than I could in my apartment in Naples, Florida. So I'll give you that one.
I was thinking we'd only go like 30 minutes, but now we're like at the bottom of the 8th. So
yeah, I don't know. I guess we go to the bottom of the 8th and then we see what happens.
Yeah. If we, I don't know. I don't want to be responsible for.
Yeah, a bad
the
loss.
result.
Well, I think actually there was we live streamed during a game like the second week of the season, and they won on a walk-off that night, or like a go-ahead hit, do something in the 9th, if I recall. And I remember thinking to myself, we probably should have kept recording, but such is life.
Yeah.
This is hey, it is what it is. We've been since we're on commercial break here, they're promoting MLB's Inside Stitch. I will let you know that we're rewatching Breaking Bad. And that's what we'll be doing after the Tigers game night, is finishing season 2 of Breaking Bad. Phenomenal show.
So I I think maybe that's what I'm going to do this summer. Is I never watched Better Call Saul.
Okay.
I watched most of the first season, but
Mm-hmm.
then life happened.
Yep.
And so I think that I'm going to go Better Call Saul into Breaking Bad.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might be what I end up doing as my show of the summer.
A
Show
little
that
Better
came
Call
out,
Saul into Breaking Bad and finish it off with some dessert and watch El Camino.
which I loved. I loved El Camino.
As did I. I was a big El Camino
Um,
guy. I remember people didn't like it. And I was like, how can you not like this? It's good. Like you're back in the Breaking Bad world for 2 hours
yeah,
and you
and
get
I think
a lot of Jesse Pinkman.
yeah, I think that like if you were a fan of the show, I don't know how you
Mhm.
could not have enjoyed it, because it was the rare we're going back to the universe where it did give me all of the closure I was still lacking,
Yeah.
um, from the series. So yeah, are you you're not a Last of Us guy, right?
I am not a Last of Us guy. Not that I'm against it. I just have not watched it. I'm a weird person with TV. It has got to be. I'm when someone's like a new show that's like going. It's very rare that I jump on the train. I'm always late to jump on the train with
Mm-hmm.
television. The
Mm-hmm.
only couple shows that I can think of recently where I've gotten on the train pretty early on and I rode it all the way to the end were Succession. Um, that might be it. And Barry. And Barry was another one too for me on
Yeah,
HBO. Like I
I
watched that.
remember you being like really
I
on
got
top
in on
of
like the
Barry.
first season or two of both those shows, and admittedly, both those shows only ran for 4 seasons. So even if you jumped on the train starting in season 2, you're already halfway there. So there wasn't that much, groundwork. But Curb Your Enthusiasm was another one. The Penguin. I did watch The Penguin. That was a newer show that I did enjoy. Bad
Which
Monkey
I
and
still
Apple.
haven't done. I need to do. Okay, well
Penguin's good.
this is
There we go.
a non spoiler Last of Us moment that is applicable to our podcast.
Okay.
Okay, so in the world of The Last of Us, the
Mm-hmm.
outbreak happens in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
In season 2, we have a character. So we're 25 years post outbreak. We have
Okay.
a character played by Catherine O'Hara, who's watching a baseball game,
Mhm.
in this like settlement that has cropped up post apocalypse, of these youth playing baseball. A different character comes up to her and says, "I didn't know you were a fan of baseball." And she says, "Used to have season tickets to the Tigers." We then watch a kid fall down running to first base. And she says, "Actually reminds me of the '03 squad."
That's good writing.
I'm like, that's such a good joke.
Uh-huh.
It is.
And that's good writing because if you have that crossover of Last of Us fans and baseball fans, in particular Tiger fans, that's right on the nose. That's
Yeah.
funny. I should not expect
I
anything less from Kevin McAllister's mom, but here we are.
was watching that episode on a plane at 6 a.m. on a Monday morning, and I started cackling like a maniac. Rewound it, watched it again. Was like, did I hear that
Good
right?
for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
It's like, that's
Good for
so
you.
good. That's so good. That is just for this fandom right here. It was
Just
like
for
they
this
literally
fandom.
they wrote that joke for me. That is like,
Just for you on the plane at 6 a.m.
yeah.
There was some guy trying to sleep next to you. You're laughing like a little hyena. Meanwhile, the guy on the other side of the plane's got his window open, wanting to watch the sunrise. Is there anything worse than that when you're on an airplane?
Oh,
Anyone who
terrible.
opens the window, there should be locks at the beginning from dusk until like 11 a.m. Locks on the plane windows. Maybe even noon.
So I guess I'm gonna throw this out there. If you are the Last of Us writer who was a Tigers fan,
Mm-hmm.
to know to pitch that joke specifically, reach out. We'd love to have you on the show.
Get you on the program.
To talk about baseball, not about
I love
zombies.
it.
Although I'll definitely ask you about zombies.
Mm-hmm. I don't watch Last of Us, but I'm a big Pedro Pascal fan, so I might watch it just for him alone.
He's so good in it.
Big fan.
It's very, very good.
Yeah.
There's an episode in season one that is, I think, the best episode of television I've ever watched. So,
Ooh, high
and
praise.
it's the Nick Offerman episode for the people out there who know. It's so good, so good.
All right, let's do it, Javi.
Come
Bottom
on,
of the
buddy.
eighth. Bottom of the eighth. Here we go. Yeah, again, I feel like Tigers left some guys on base, even after the Javi home run. Trey Sweeney struck out runners on the corners with 2 outs, I believe it was. Just they haven't been able to put them away. This guy's throwing gas out of the Boston bullpen. Slayton.
Yeah.
3, 4, and 5 due up for the Red Sox in the top of the ninth. And who's leading off? 1, Alex Bregman.
That'll be fun. Tigers fans love him right now.
He is very loved by the fandom. All right, Javi.
Luke, I also have I'll wait till this at bat's over, and then I have a question to pose in the between innings break.
Of course.
I mean, we'll have another batter, of course, because that was classic Javi Baez.
Oh, I don't like that. I just thought you're tipping the pitches, which I really do appreciate. You really are. That helps me. Not want to bash my head into a wall. I mean, hey, you already had the big home run once, so.
Yeah, it's just been very funny. Like even as he's obviously had a resurgence of his hitting, that it's like, oh, that still lives there. That's still
of course.
That still lives in him. It's not.
Yep.
Okay, so what was going around Detroit sports social media this week or so? I'm sure you saw it on our Twitter feed of people just asking about who the face of Detroit sports is, asking about the head coaches of the Detroit teams. I pose this to you as someone who is on you are obviously in the Detroit sports world to a certain extent, but you are not fully immersed in the way that a lot of the members of our community are. The consensus, and I think correctly, not to give you a leading answer here, is that Dan Campbell is like the face of Detroit sports right now. Does that ring true to you?
We're talking out of the 4 managers, correct?
Yeah, out of the coaching jobs.
I would agree. I think you're always going to have a hard time. Football is just so universally loved. You're going to have a hard time ever having baseball supersede football on anything in terms of like a ranking or a top or this or that. But I would say it would be Dan Campbell and then AJ Hinch in a pretty darn close second. And then I don't know who the hell is coaching the Pistons or the Red Wings. I know, didn't the one guy get fired from the Pistons? There was a new head coach this last season.
2 years ago. Yeah, it's JD Bickerstaff.
2 years ago, yeah. I know there was a guy of the Red Wings who got fired mid-season, the head coach of the Wings.
That is correct.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah. That's
yeah. I think that is accurate. And I do think like this was Jim Leland's town when Leland was the manager of the Detroit Tigers, partially because everyone else kind of sucked. During that time.
Yeah, I mean that helps. It's easy to be on top when there's no one else there. So I mean, yeah.
But I do think that there is definitely something to be said that like Dan Campbell fully embodies like the spirit of Detroit.
Yeah.
Like I think if you started telling people that Joe Louis's fist was actually Dan Campbell's fist, they'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. That checks out.
He's been eating kneecaps since the day he got here and like eating souls and every other thing. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm all. You see the video of him trying to get, I think it was like his daughter's college bag into the pickup truck. Yeah, it was very.
First of all, if you are a Detroit sports fan and you are not following Holly Campbell on social media, his wife, it's great content because Dan is so authentically himself, and I think that she is so authentically herself. But anytime she captures video of Dan, it is like gold, and you want to be there from the beginning. You want to get it from the beginning. So I watched it on her Instagram before all of the other accounts picked it up. And so this feels like my band
Your
that blew
grassroots.
up is that that I was like, no, I was in on this Instagram story from
You're
the
like, no,
beginning.
I was watching Breaking Bad first. I was watching Cobra Kai back when it was on YouTube Red before it went to Netflix. So suck it. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
everybody just back off. Oh man, it's so good. It's so good. And also, like, I don't know what I could see. I would recognize AJ Hinch on the street, but I think it would take me a second, maybe, just because he is kind of a fairly normal looking guy. Dan Campbell is just such a massive dude that I don't know what I'd do if I saw him on the streets. And so I'm thinking about if helping my sister move in and out of her dorm at Michigan State. And then it's just like, there's Dan Campbell.
Yep. Oh, what a play by Jace. Way to stay with that. That's a great grab there. Again, offensively, he's been pretty awful, but defensively, he really has improved from what little we saw of him last season now into this season. That's a tough play.
Yeah.
Took kind of a funky route to it, but stuck with it the whole time. And that is a big out number one.
Yep. So Luke, I'm not gonna limit the options here. Who's the face of the Detroit Tigers right now?
Tarek Skubal.
Yeah,
Tarek Skubal. He's the best pitcher in baseball. Cy Young Award winner.
The favorite to repeat. If it's not Tarek, who is it?
See, I have two answers for this. So my next answer would probably be Riley Green. I think he's like the next well-known, I would say. But I think given what he's done this season, I think Javi Baez is the biggest name on the team.
Yeah.
But I think just given what he has done this season and his resurgence, I know it's only, a month and a half into the season. I do feel like Javi, you can make an argument, is starting to slowly become. I don't personally think that he is the face, but I feel like I know for a fact, if I go to talk to any extended family who don't know the Detroit Tigers, they're probably not going to know who Riley Green is. They're probably not going to know who Kerry Carpenter is or Dylan Dingler. I guarantee you they're going to say, hey, we saw Javi's doing really good again for the Tigers. So I think that's kind of right there for that'd be to the common, I'd say. For me, I'm going to go Tarek Skubal, then Riley Green. And then probably batting third, if I said, go ahead and say is the third face, I would probably go. Oh, that's a tough one. Batting third, I guess Torkelson. I mean, he's another big name, but my personal three, not to the general public. When I think of the Tigers, the current Tigers, I probably think of Tarek Skubal, Riley Green, and this is going to be unfavorable, I'm sure, but I think of Jake Rogers. I really do. I think of Jake Rogers.
I think that's a really great choice, especially again, in different ways. Jake Rogers feels very Detroit. That's a really nice choice. I think that's really
He's
good.
got a personality. He's been around. He's the longest tenured guy on the team, which is crazy. And he's hurt right now. There's chances when he comes back from injury, he's not even going to be the starting catcher. It still might be Dingler, but Rogers for me. How about you? Who would be your top three? And I didn't put AJ Hinch onto that because I was just going strictly players.
Sure.
But so if you do your top three faces player wise, who do you think you'd go with?
Yeah, I think Tarek is the easy number one.
Right.
I think I go Javi Baez next, only because I haven't been in probably 5 months at this point. The MLB store in Manhattan. But the previous years, the only Tigers jersey available in the MLB store, like that I could just go buy off the rack, was Javi Baez.
Right.
And I think that, coupled with him actually putting up Javi Baez of old numbers, I think catapults him into that spot. And so I think that there's that undercurrent, and then I would go Riley Green. I think that Riley Green is like the up and coming name that somebody would say. Right. And also, like, to Javi's credit, if this sustains, I think it adds to the legend of Detroit resurgences of careers.
Yeah.
That has kind of been around since the AJ Hinch era has begun, that you can come to Detroit and you can kind of get right and then and figure things out, and you can be like Jack and go win a ring and then come back and win another one with us, which is going to feel really good.
2 rings in 2 years. 2 rings in 1 year, really. My goodness. Also get in mind, Javi's the highest paid player on the team. So, like, it's just when you're the big contract guy, of course you're going to kind of be the face, whether you want to be or not. You know, that boy, Will. Nice job.
Outing by Will.
Yep. Well, I think we got to watch the bottom of the ninth, and then we'll take it. We'll see what happens from there. I think we've got.
Well, that's all we'll need. That's all we'll need. I think they can.
That's all we're going to need. I think it's top of the order, if I'm not mistaken. 1, 2, 3, because Javi struck out. He was batting ninth.
You know, that's the thing too that I like about what's going on with Javi this season, is that he's at the bottom of the order, which I think has also contributed to the less pressure.
Yeah.
Which I still don't, as not a professional baseball player, I still don't really understand, because I understand you get up more if you are at the top of the order, but the pressure's theoretically the same at the bottom of the order, right? In your at bats. I don't quite understand the mental game at work in a lot of guys if they get moved back in the order. But yeah, to be able to have a 300 hitting Javi Baez at the bottom to turn it over to the top of the order, that's a nice little trick we got in the pocket.
Now, here's my hypothetical for you. Let's try to play AJ Hinch. So we're going to the bottom of the ninth. You're going to have the top of the order leading off. So that should be Kerry Carpenter, Gleyber Torres, and I believe Zach McKinstry, your top 3. I don't think anyone's been pitch hit for at this point. Does AJ, and I think Aroldis Chapman was warming in the pin for the Red Sox, lefty. So does AJ Hinch pinch hit for Kerry Carpenter, who I think has 2 hits tonight to start at the top of the ninth? He does have Ibanez on the bench. Does he go 100%. For that matchup?
I think he
does.
Think
he's gonna pitch hit Andy Ibanez and then let Gleyber do his thing, and hopefully from there see what happens? All right, let's see here.
I'd be pretty shocked.
Yeah,
if he doesn't take the matchup.
Let's see what he does here. We got Johnny Kane and Todd Jones. This boy, a lot of what's going on with? I think I said
a lot of changes. A lot of changes.
FanDuel Sports Network sucks. I mean, they're getting rid of a lot. I know John Keating retired, but cutting loose Trevor Thompson, Mickey York. Yeah. I don't know. I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah. I think there's just too much.
Also,
too much at
Network,
once.
Would it be too much to ask for you guys to put AJ Hinch's post-game press conferences on your Twitter feed? Bally did it all the time last year, and it was wonderful. We were both wrong.
Justin Henry Malloy.
So he's got to be saving Andy for McKinstry's spot, is what I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's what I would think. Because also, this is a good spot to kind of put J-Hen into, because J-Hen can get on base. I think he's
also got some pop in that bat.
Yeah, he's a fairly patient hitter. He's had a nice couple walks in here.
Man, Aroldis Chapman still throwing gas after all these years.
Yeah. He's very
I
good.
remember when he somersaulted after he got a save, and that was a big story in the press. Like, who's this young cocky kid who somersaulted after he won the game? Come on, J-Hen.
Ooh, doesn't look like he's got quite the control right now.
Oh, yeah. 100, though, man. He can still
Yeah,
top
he's got
out at
these,
triple
got
digits.
the
It's
gas.
pretty impressive.
I
Yeah.
just have to say that sinker did the opposite. It was
No.
riser.
Well, it almost sunk into someone's hot dog in the second row, but J-Hen. What are we doing here? That's tough.
All right, Glaber. I mean, Glaber could just hit one. That'd be fine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll see what he does here. Well, everybody loves Glaber Torres. He's the man about town right now in Detroit, so let's see what he can do.
Oh, buddy.
I'm also trying to gauge your reactions to my TV, so I'm in a real mental game of tug of war right now. Oh, come on. In what world? In what world is that a strike?
Oh, maybe you're ahead of me now. How do we flip?
Get him 9 phone books to stand on. Maybe it'd be a strike.
No, you're behind me. I have no idea how that was a strike. I was so convinced that the pitch I had just watched could not be the one you were reacting to.
You kind of winced a little bit. You kind of went, oh, and I was like, that's why he's wincing, because I'd be wincing too if I was watching that live, which I am, and it's terrible.
No, I was wincing more at how badly he missed.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he's going to kill somebody if he can't get control over this ball.
I'm not feeling the magic. I'm not feeling the juju right now. I'm not feeling the good vibes in this bottom of the ninth. Everyone seems to be really overpowered by the fastball. So, I don't know. Come on, Glaber.
Oh.
Yeah. Ground out. Ooh.
Not as
throw there, Alexander Bregman.
Alex Bregman can't throw to first, so that's why we didn't pay him all the money.
All right, we're going to see Andy here. I got to imagine we're going to see.
No.
Going.
See, I think we would have seen Andy if we had runners on.
Yep.
But in this scenario now, he wants to wait to see who's going to come.
Yeah, see if he's already maybe kind of
after the 10th.
Yep. Well, he's got on the bench right now Nito. He's got Andy and
come on, Zach, 102. Catch up to the ball.
Come on, Zach. Anyone can hit that.
I wouldn't even see it if it was coming at me 102.
I would ask if once it hit the glove, I'd go, he threw the ball already? Oh, I'm sorry.
When's he going to pitch?
Oof, this has been a rough bottom of the ninth here. Have not enjoyed any of this. No, I'm going to be honest, folks. I'm going to be pessimistic here. The momentum does not feel to be on the side with the Detroit Tigers in this game. This momentum feels 100% in Boston's corner. But I guess we'll have to see what happens.
We'll never know.
We'll never know until the game ends in 15 minutes, and then we'll know.
And then we'll know.
And then we'll know.
Top of the 10th, everybody.
Top of the 10th.
Coming to you live.
Some free baseball. Well, I guess when you go this far, when we've gone this far, we just got to keep going.
Yeah, I feel really committed until we get to the 17th inning.
And it's like, I have to work tomorrow.
Keep live streaming.
While I'm here, maybe we'll just check some emails. Thank God we're doing video and no audio for this, because that's, my goodness. I guess there still could be. All right, let's see here. So, Alex, we're going to be seeing you next week in New York. Now I'm just doing ancillary conversations.
We
till
did
get
not
back to the
have
game.
this much content prepared, folks.
We don't usually do an hour and 10.
Yeah. My computer is freaking out right now.
Tigers are 1-2 in extra inning games. I think Tigers have one walk-off hit this season, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was the Torkelson double in the ninth against the White Sox, if I'm not mistaken. Wasn't that it earlier in April?
Yes.
Sounds vaguely familiar. All right. Well, the Red Sox seem to be a pretty fast team for the most part. So this feels like not the best start, and it's not. Jesus.
Oh,
Why is
no.
that my? Whew. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think I will put audio out of this show, but I might record a little tease at the end. We'll finish it and say, hey, but there's a whole bunch of other great conversation about The Last of Us, the face of Detroit sports.
Oh, yeah.
That you get if you watch live on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Watch the game with us.
Let's do it.
We're hanging out. You should too. Okay, Will, we're just going to need you to really pitch your pants off here.
All right, Will, just keep your pants on, but pitch them off.
But pitch them right off.
Right off.
It's a write-off.
It's a write-off. It's a write-off, David.
But who writes it off?
All right, well, you got him 0-2.
That'll work.
Let's see the cheddar. That'll work.
Now it's getting funny. Hello to our 4 viewers right now. Welcome. If you've got thoughts on the game, throw them in the comments, folks.
We're chit-chatting. We're just watching the Tigers trying to throw this game away. It feels like they should have won 2 innings ago.
All 4 of them just left the stream.
Oh, good. Good. That's what I was hoping for.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Hilarious. All right. Come on, Will. Nice. Got Bo Brisky warming up in the bullpen.
Bobo. Hopefully we don't need him because they're going to get all the outs right now.
I wouldn't be opposed to a double. Definitely wouldn't be opposed to a double play here. Let's see what we got.
Thing is, Trump's still trying to work out after this game. They gotta wrap it up.
All right, good for you. I went today after work myself. Did a little back and arms and a little bit of cardio.
Nice. It's must be a leg day today, Tuesday. Yeah, it's leg day. Leg day number 1.
Leg day number 1. Multiple leg day. You're doing multiple leg days a week, huh? Good for you.
Well, it's a 4-day workout plan. 2 upper body, 2 lower body is kind of the.
Gotcha. Come on, Will. Oh, no, Will. No, Will.
One. Don't love the hitch in that throw to second.
Oh! They weren't going to get him anyways, but damn. Got the ground ball. I don't think they were going to
Yeah.
get him anyways, truly. Red Sox are a fast team. Shit.
Yeah, just a little slow in the exchange from the hand to the ball, the glove.
I
glove
don't
to
think
the
they would have
hand.
had him anyways.
Means I gotta update this banner, and not in the way I wanted to.
This, if the Tigers lose this game, is a bad loss because their offense really showed up tonight and fought the entire time. They weren't perfect, but fought the entire time. Their pitching was not very good tonight. Pitching was not very good. Great thing about extra innings, though, is with the Ghost Runner, all it takes is one big home run right at the top, and we go home.
Yeah.
So, assuming they get this out here, there's no more damage.
Yep.
You're going to have 4, 5, and 6, so that'll be Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson, and Dingler. Dingler, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
7, yeah. Or no, Sweeney, because I think Dingler's batting 7th. So Sweeney.
Did you hear Benetti's Sweeney Todd reference the other day?
I did not.
Trey went to steal a base, and he kind of had a funky slide around. He ended up being out, but they called him safe initially. And Benetti just goes, "Nothing's gonna harm you, not when Trey's around, Sweeney."
That's hilarious. Jason Benetti is awesome. How fortunate we are to have him.
Great stuff, Benetti. All right, here we go.
All right, well, let's watch this bottom of the 10th and watch the Tigers walk it off. What do you say?
That sounds great to me. That sounds great.
Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson, Trey Sweeney. Who's going to be the hero? I think it's going to be Torkelson. I like a 1 out. You know what? I'm gonna go bold here. All right, I'm getting this out now before it happens.
Okay.
Ghost Runner's gonna start on second. Riley Green is gonna walk to start.
Okay.
Spencer Torkelson's gonna hit a 3-run homer to win the game. Tigers win 9-6.
Okay. All right.
That's my pick.
I'm gonna say Riley's gonna hit a leadoff double.
Okay. Tie the game.
Torkelson is going to hit a single that only moves the runner to third.
Okay. Trey Sweeney, what's he do?
Then we're going to have a wild pitch, and Riley's going to come in to win.
All right. I like it. It's bold.
That's bold. That's a bold call that I just made.
He's bold.
He's called for the wild pitch.
Yeah.
The walk-off wild pitch winner.
Walk-off wild pitch. All right, I'm going to say that the Ghost Runner advances to third on a balk.
Ooh.
And then advances home on another balk and wins the game without Riley Green even swinging the bat one time.
So
my two balk.
I guess my question for you is, how do we get the other run?
That's a good point. Riley Green will then get hit.
The balk is so bad, they give him 2 runs. The balk is
so bad, they say, Riley, you can take first. Riley's going to get hit by a pitch, and then 4 more balks will happen. You're going to see a 6 balk bottom of the 10th, and the Tigers will win this game 8-6. Calling it now.
They only have. Sorry, I did not see Sean Newcomb not crossed out at the bottom there. We're down to 2 pitchers.
Liam Hendricks, that guy used to pitch for the White Sox, and he was a psychopath.
Yeah.
I'll never forget when Eric Haas hit that game-tying home run against him opening day in 2022. All right, Riley. Good news is you got McKinstry. He's got some wheels, so that's good there. Ball 1, outside. Thus far, my prediction, the balk prediction is out the window, but my initial prediction, still alive.
Well, you did say he wouldn't swing the bat, which he hasn't done yet. There you go. Now he swung the bat. Now you're screwed.
Also, I think I said the Tigers would win 9-6. That's going to be hard considering the fact the Red Sox have 7 runs. But you know what? We've been
Seeing
streaming
crazy.
for over an hour and 20 minutes now. My math is going to start getting real crappy.
This is becoming one of the longest episodes in the history of the show.
Of the show, yeah. Streams are fun. I think this should be our new thing, the Tuesday night stream. I like it.
It's a good time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right, Riley. Just give me my double.
Riley down 1-2.
Let's get it started.
Down 1-2. Not loving the at bat thus far from Riley, but you know what? That guy's rocking and rolling with his rally cap.
Oh, get out of play. Oh, nuts.
Here, Riley. Okay, well, all my predictions now are off the table.
Mine too. We're dead. We're dead in the water.
Now,
here.
I did say Torkelson will hit the walk-off homer.
That's true. That's true. You said it was going to be a 3-run shot, but we'll take a 2-run shot. We don't need to be greedy. If he hits
it far enough, they may give him another run. If he hits it into Ford Field, they may say, holy cow, just give him another RBI. That was impressive. Considering the fact, I'm pretty sure Ford Field geographically would be in foul territory, but hey, teach their own.
Ooh, wow. He really put that off of his ankle.
Ooh.
Because he was swinging for Ford Field.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that probably we never get the exit velo when the guy puts it into his own leg.
Yeah, can't feel great.
I'm like, that had to have been like 110 off the bat.
Like I said, we're going to see how this at bat goes with Mr. Torkelson here, but it just feels like all the momentum is with the White Sox. It's with the Chicago White Sox tonight. Not the Red Sox.
Bad it's
the White
been
Sox.
Going. They've been. The White Sox have gained momentum. Oh, that was the pitch, Spencer. That was the pitch.
That was the pitch, Spencer. You are correct. All right, let's see what happens here. Feels like this is going to be a heartbreaker tonight, unfortunately.
Whoa. I almost got my wild pitch.
Yeah, pretty close. This Red Sox team, I mean, they're definitely a solid baseball team. They're better than Red Sox teams of recent years. Not as good as I thought they would be going into the season.
Yeah, I agree. They're different. They're different than I thought they would be coming into the season. They kind of remind me of the Tampa Bay Rays saying we didn't get better, we got different a couple seasons ago. And I feel like they don't win baseball games by being better at baseball. They win them by being
Bregman's
different.
definitely having a heck of a year, but all right, come on, Spencer. 2-2 here. What do you got for me, Spencer? Come on. All right, staying alive. Staying alive. Staying alive.
This is also so strange. I'm not usually the one that's ahead on the signal.
Yeah, so I got to see I'm not trying to read your facial expressions. I'm just trying to go off what I'm watching. Okay, that's a foul ball. He's on it. He is on it.
Yeah.
Got to be careful for that junk, though. Don't chase that Javi slider 10 feet off the plate.
Do you think that's the inner monologue? Don't be Javi. Don't be Javi.
Don't be Javi. Maybe nowadays it's be Javi, be Javi, be Javi, be Javi, be Javi. All right, come on, Spencer. They're going high. All right.
That was the Javi pitch.
That was the Javi pitch. He was not Javi. All right, come on, Spencer. Be smart here now. You don't think
Trey Sweeney's coming up to bat, do you?
He very well might for the matchup. I don't know. I mean, you're going to pitch it Nito. You got Colt Keith on the bench, but you could go Colt. You definitely could go Colt. Really good at bat by Torkelson. Fighting.
Yeah, I think it started kind of poor, but he's battled his
Come
way
on,
into
Spence.
this.
Oh boy, Spencer Torkelson. Let's see what he can do here. Come on, Bubba. 3-2. I'm feeling ball 4. Ugh, he hit it a mile high.
Yep.
That was that unfortunate ending there. to an otherwise pretty good at bat.
Here he is,
Man.
Trey Sweeney.
Well, you know what? He has been pretty hot with the bat since that Anaheim series. So
It's true, and he's out for 4, so like statistically, he's due.
I think he's due here. I like a base hit to tie the game, and we're going to the 11th. I don't know if we'll go to the 11th, but
This
the
is
game
the stream
will go to the
that
11th.
never ends. Yes, it goes on and on, my friends.
All right, come on, Trey.
Also, like my background has slowly but surely like started to continue to like encroach on my on my being.
Yes,
Like
sir.
it's late. Stop it.
They're going to lock you out of the gym. They're going to say, sir, it's 10 o'clock. People are already up for work tomorrow here in Naples. That's how time works. Southwest Florida. 10 o'clock. May as well go get a round of golf in before the sun comes out and gets too hot. All right, come on, Trey. See it here.
Get around. Get around. Get around.
Here we go. 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 Safe. Oh, that's pretty good stuff there.
That's what we like to see.
There. That's what we like to see.
I got to keep updating our little crawl. Do you think Benetti's the one who updates the crawl like I'm doing right now?
That's why they had to let Matt Shepard go. He refused to do the crawl update. That
didn't know how to work StreamYard. So, like,
all right, buddy. Now the momentum feels back with the Tigers. You know what? I like this. What we're going to get here because, man, good aggressive slide by McKinstry. Guy just came in guns blazing.
Oh, that's a great shot. Great shot, cameraman.
Yep. Good work, Trey. Good work, buddy. Good stuff.
We may not have a pope that cheers for us, but I think someone upstairs likes us.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
it's
Dylan.
your neighbors.
They're like, is that guy yelling about the Tigers again?
I don't have neighbors, so. All right, come on, Dingler. Let's do it. I call him Dingles. I like it. I like it. If I was on the team, that would be my nickname for him. I would go, let's go, Dingles.
I don't hate that.
That'd be the name.
I don't hate that.
Mm-hmm. That'd be the name for him.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, Dylan. Let's win it right here, and let's go home. Let's win it right here, and let's go home.
They have an afternoon game tomorrow. What time do they play tomorrow?
Probably afternoon, because it's the game 3, I would imagine. Off Thursday, I believe.
They're off Thursday.
3. Yeah. Very rare that a game 3 is in the evening. That way it's but since they're off, maybe. I don't know if the Red Sox are off on Thursday or not.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, I stand corrected. It's 6:40 tomorrow night. Huh. The more you know.
Did you see that Angels controversy where they did it to themselves to not have a get out of town game?
Oh no.
Because like they were I don't remember who they were playing. They were home.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have a say in the game time. They can I think they decide it. Probably within some parameters. But instead of playing an afternoon game to then get on the flight, because they were playing, I think they were in Minnesota the next game.
Yeah.
Instead of playing an afternoon game and flying to Minnesota, they played a night game on the West Coast.
Nice. Well, no one ever said the Angels were just,
Minnesota.
Clearly they're not the smartest franchise in baseball. They've ruined 2 career generational talents and completely squandered them in their prime. So is anyone surprised that this is the brain trust running thing? So
yeah. All right, Luke. I think we got to cut it off.
We got to cut it off in 90 minutes. That's the max, I think. But let's see. Let's hope they can pull it out in the 11th. And who knows? We'll see.
Yes, indeed, folks. Thanks for hanging around. We'll do some more of these. This was a good time. Yeah. So we'll do some more Tuesday night game live streams where we're watching probably the second half of the game together and chatting about it and the state of the Tigers. So we'll catch you on the flip side of that, folks. Luke, have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Later, buddy. You too. See you, man. Go Tigers.